All right, let's get right into it. If you're studying for the AWS Cloud Practitioner exam, you absolutely positively cannot skip the cloud service models. I mean it. Getting this right is a huge piece of the puzzle, so let's lock it in right now.
So why is this one topic so important? Well, just look at the exam breakdown. Understanding these models hits two of the heaviest domains: cloud tech and services at a whopping 34% and security and compliance at 30%. You get this, and you are well on your way to passing.
So no fluff, we're going to break down everything you need to know, clear up all the confusion, and get you totally prepped to nail this on the exam, and we're going to do it in the next few minutes. Ready? Let's go. We're talking about the big three: infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and software as a service. You can think of these as the fundamental language of the cloud. You got to speak it to pass.
Okay, before we get into the jargon, let's just simplify this. The single most important thing to get is that the only real difference between these models is the line dividing what you manage versus what AWS manages for you. That's it. It's a sliding scale of responsibility.
Now, to make this idea stick in your brain, we are going to use the classic pizza as a service analogy. Yeah, it sounds a little silly, but trust me, it's pretty much the easiest and best way to remember this stuff for your exam. All right, follow me on this. Making pizza at home from scratch. That's your traditional on-premises data center. You do everything. Now, IaaS is like getting a take-and-baked pizza. The shop gives you the dough and sauce, but you're still in charge of toppings and actually baking it. PaaS, that's pizza delivery. The pizza shows up ready to go, you just have to worry about the table and drinks. And finally, SaaS is just dining out. You show up, you eat, and you leave. You manage absolutely nothing. See that progression? You're offloading more and more work at each step. Okay, so the pizza analogy makes sense, right? Now let's connect it directly to the official terms that you are definitely going to see on the exam. First up, infrastructure as a service, or IaaS. This is your take and bake model. AWS gives you the raw infrastructure, the servers, the storage, the networking, but you're responsible for everything on top of it. That means the operating system, the patches, your applications. You get the most control, but you also have the most work to do. Next, we've got platform as a service, or PaaS. This is your pizza delivery. With PaaS, AWS handles the hardware and the operating system. You don't ever have to think about patching servers. Your only job is to upload your application code and manage your data. You get to focus on your code, not the plumbing underneath. And finally, software as a service, or SaaS. This is dining out. It's a completely finished product that's ready to use. You're not managing code, you're not managing servers, you're not managing, well, anything. You just log in and use the software. This is the least control for sure, but it's also the most convenient. Okay, theory is cool and all, but let's be real. The exam is going to ask you to connect these models to actual AWS services. So let's do that right now with the exact examples you're likely to see.
And boom, here it is. This slide is everything. For IaaS, the #1 example is always Amazon EC2. You manage the OS on up. For PaaS, think of a managed database like Amazon RDS. You handle the data, AWS handles the database engine and the OS. And for SaaS, think AWS Workspaces, a virtual desktop you just use. Seriously, take a screenshot of this. This is your key to getting these questions right.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This is pulled straight from the official exam guide. It says you need to be skilled in describing how responsibilities can shift. That is exactly what we are talking about. They are literally telling you what's on the test.
So, knowing that this is a key topic, AWS loves to set up little traps to see if you're paying attention to that shifting line of responsibility. Let's look at a classic question that trips people up all the time.
So, imagine this exam question. Who is responsible for security patching the guest operating system? In which of these models does that job fall on you, the customer? Just think about it for a second. In which model do you even have access to the OS? And the answer is IaaS. In an IaaS service like EC2, you control the operating system, which means patching it is your job. But in a PaaS model, AWS manages that whole platform layer, so they handle the OS patching. This one distinction is a guaranteed point score on the exam if you can remember it.
Phew, all right, we've covered a lot, so let's boil it all down into a super fast recap you can use as a last-minute cheat sheet.
Here we go, rapid fire. IaaS. You get the infrastructure, like an EC2 instance. You manage the OS. PaaS. You get the platform, like a database with RDS. You manage your code and data. And SaaS. You get the software, like workspaces.
You manage basically nothing. That's it. So, I'll leave you with this one final question to really cement it in your mind. Now that you get the models, which one gives you the absolute most control, and which one is all about convenience? It's all about that trade-off. Understand that, and you're thinking like a real cloud professional.